Hi, I'm Bob Zwicker, and this is my son Bobby Zwicker. We're here at TP Tools Auto Collection today, and we wanted to tell you how this all got started. My father, back in the late 60s, purchased a 1929 Model A Ford pickup like we have here, and he decided he wanted to restore it. So to remove the paint and rust, he purchased a sandblaster, and he blasted the whole car, took it down to bare metal, and redid the whole car. This is an example of what it would look like after it's restored. The unique thing about the sandblaster, when he purchased that, he said, boy, how great this really worked, and took the paint off, and he thought, man, maybe I could sell these. So he contacted the company, and he purchased 2 or 3, sold those, purchased a couple more, kept buying them, selling them, and eventually that's how our business started back in the mid-70s, buying, selling sandblasters. Later we started making our own, and today we make enclosed type blasting cabinets also for all the parts that you would use in the restoration process. Here we have our collection of our antique cars that we're going to show you today. After my dad purchased his 29 Ford pickup, he started collecting more and more cars, and he liked the Cadillacs now as his big collection. So we have about 5 or 6 Cadillacs. This one here is a 1929 Cadillac Phaeton Convertible. So this Cadillac here, the 1929, a lot of chrome, big spotlights, top goes down, and usually if you had this car in 1929, you had a chauffeur driving you around, and you sat in the back. There's a secondary windshield, and you and your wife sat there, or the kids, in the rear. Also unique to this car is when you drive, they look like big fog lights. They call them driving lights. And when you turn the steering wheel, they actually rotate the way you're turning so they shine on the road. And you could see clearly driving back in the 20s. So it's a unique car. Our next Cadillac is a Cadillac LaSalle. It's a 1930 Cadillac convertible. It's basically a 2-seater. One unique thing on the side of the Cadillac, there's a little door there. And if I open this is when you went golfing, you put your golf clubs in here. So it's a golf caddy door for your golf clubs. It's a pretty unique thing for 1930. Car has dual mount spare tires. Same thing, it has the driving lights when you turn, and a lot of chrome, and an extra for traveling on the back. There's a luggage trunk on the rear of the car. Here we have a 1939 Cadillac LaSalle convertible, 2-door. This car, originally my father had one in a hardtop, probably back in the late 60s, early 70s. I remember when I was a young kid, about 6, 7 years old, I used to go to Idora Park to the car shows with it. And then later he sold it, and then he found this car in St. Louis, and we brought it in our shop and we did a full restoration on it. And it's a really high-end restoration. It's won the Cadillac LaSalle Senior Award, which is the highest award you can get for a restoration in a Cadillac. It's probably one of the best in the country.
Okay, this car is a really interesting 1940 Cadillac convertible. It served through World War II in the White House. It was used for presidents from FDR through JFK. It was actually driven in JFK's funeral cortege. So a lot of history in this car, fully restored. One of the nicest cars that we have now after a full restoration here at our shop. This Cadillac here has the suicide doors, which is a really neat feature, especially in an older Cadillac. You can see, as I'd said, that presidents from FDR through JFK would have ridden in the back here in presidential parades or whatnot. And
here's our 1947 Cadillac convertible. It's a Series 62. This car here has been restored to all original specifications, just like it came out of the factory. It has a 346 cubic inch flathead V8 engine with a whopping 150 horsepower. And what's neat about this engine in this car, during the Second World War, they used the same engine in the tanks through the war. So they had Cadillac engines in all the tanks. Here's our 1948 Cadillac Convertible. Now this car is a little different from the 47. They look very similar, but this car is, they call it a resto mod, where the car's been lowered. It has a modern drivetrain. It has a big block Chevy engine in there and 425 horsepower. Custom interior, all leather. As you can see, there's no door handles on the car. They've been shaved. That's when they remove them. Same thing on the deck lid. A lot of custom features on the car, modern speedometer, like digital inside the car. The bumpers, there's usually vertical pieces on the bumpers. Those have been removed, so it's kind of, they call it smooth, so the whole car is smooth. And it's got factory air, just about everything you need. It's like a modern car in an old shell.
Okay, so here we have a couple of our 1940s American Bantams. As you can see the sizes of them, that they're pretty neat, small cars. They were actually manufactured in the early 1930s in hopes to be given the Army contracts for the U.S. Army to be used in the World Wars, but that later went to the Jeeps. So back, they were discontinued in 1935, and then they were manufactured again in Butler, PA from 1938 to 41. So that they were only made for so many years back in the 1930s to 40s, but really neat little cars.
Here's our oldest car in our collection, a 1917 Buick touring car. Really unique. If you notice the wheels, they're all handmade out of wood. Looks like it's probably oak because it was hard. Running boards were wood, fold down top, and a wood steering wheel.
Well, as you'll see as you walk through our museum and you see all our beautiful cars, there's a lot of other things hanging on the walls, signs, different memorabilia that is just as cool. You can see in this replica gas station we have here, we have old-time gas pumps and oil pumps that you would have seen back in the good days that would have had someone come up and service your car for you. So there's a lot of stuff that we have aside from the cars that is just as interesting.
So we just showed you all the cars in our first building at our museum here, mainly all pre-war cars. And what we're going to do now is we're going to move to our muscle car section that's in a separate building and start to show you those. If you'd like to come in, our hours are Saturdays 10 to 3, free admission, and you can go through both buildings and spend as much time as you like. And it's a unique thing to do on a Saturday rainy day. Stop in.